Hi, my name is Nina.
And I'm Nicholas.
And this is the
Immortalicast.
We are translators and rejuvenation enthusiasts, and this is our podcast about longevity, rejuvenation, and immortality. We make episodes in these topics in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Portuguese.
Today we'll talk with two people who work on Helis. It's a entity from Belgium that is very active in the rejuvenation field. So we will talk with Didier Coeurnelle, who is founder and co-chair of the entity. He's also member of the board of Humanity Plus. And we'll talk with Marion Stenaker, who is a biologist and work in Helis as well. So first, we would like to make a small introduction with you, but we would like to tell our audience that later in this video we will talk about an update about the experiments of lifespan with rats, which are being carried out by Harold Katcher and Rodolfo Goya in India and Argentina, respectively. So first, to give a brief context, maybe we would like to make some general questions for you.
Yeah, so first, you both work at Helis, or the Healthy Life Extension Society, right? I know that Helis produces a newsletter, it funds scientific research in the rejuvenation field, and also promotes lectures and conferences. So is that correct? Is that what Helis does? What exactly do Helis does to help the rejuvenation area?
Yes, that's what you said. So the biggest things that we are doing at the moment, it's yes, there is this monthly newsletter now in French, Dutch, English, and German. Then we organize conferences. Well, until 2 years ago, before the COVID, it was in real life conferences, but now, of course, there are mainly conferences online, and well, it has some difficult aspects, but it has also more positive aspects. It's easier to have sometimes well-known people. It's easier to organize. It's of course less expensive. Well, but we have less direct contacts. We also, like you say, we will speak more about this fund, but it's with not a lot of money. Actually, it's money coming from me. So we are funding some rejuvenation experiments, and we have one monthly meeting with Sven Bultereys. Is the co-chair of HEALS, and he's I would say a real scientist, because like Marion and Virginie, who is not here, they are real scientists. I studied law, so but it's only my passion, not my full-time job. So Sven Bultereys is making something called scientific news of the month. So each month he's describing, let's say, the biggest advances concerning scientific articles. And then we have also many other contacts. I would say a little bit like what lifespan.io is doing, but they are bigger. So kind of activism, European activism, world activism. We are also member of the International Longevity Alliance that you probably know, with Ilias Tambler, with Edouard de Bonneuil, with other people. So that's it in a few words. But probably, so Marion is here in the organization only since 4 months. So what she will say more, maybe in 1 or 2 sentences, would be even more interesting, because somebody just coming, it's always interesting.
Well, I think we would like to enter on subject that many people in the rejuvenation field are interested in, and in fact, me and Nina are interested as well, very much. That subject is the experiments that Hillis is supporting regarding the lifespan of rats with Dr. Harold Katcher and Dr. Rodolfo Goya. So in order people understand a bit the context, Hillis announced some months ago that these two experiments will be carried out. The Harold Katcher experiments occurs in India with his supervision, and it has 8 treated rats and 8 untreated rats. I mean, the controls are 8 rats. So the compound that Harold is using in this experiment is a proprietary compound that Harold discovered. So from the side of Rodolfo Goya is using 9 treated rats and 8 untreated rats. The compound Rodolfo Goya is using is young plasma from young rats. So all the rats were 25 months old when the experiment started, and they are receiving these compounds in order to see the total lifespan in comparison with the controls. So we would like to ask you first, when exactly both experiments started, and how many rats are still alive in the treated group and the control group in both experiments.
I will leave it to Marion to tell you precisely, because she knows that better than I do. And after that, I will have some more comments probably.
Yeah, sure. So for so far in the Rodolfo Goya groups, we have 7 control rats that are dead. So only 1 is still alive, and we have 6 treated rats that are still alive. So 3 rats dead. So that's a little bit promoting. So it's really good, because for the moment only the control died before the treated one. And the experiment started around November 20. So that's and after, so maybe like three months after, so in January, Harold Katcher starts his experiments, and so far all the rats are alive. So all the 16 rats, so 8 control and 8 treated one, are still alive for the moment.
So the experiment of Harold started on January.
Yes.
And Rodolfo's started
start before in November.
Okay.
Actually, if I can add something just about, so it was really great that I was able to meet, online, of course, Rodolfo, because he had some old rats and nothing to do with them. So by the way, all rats are female rats, and they live a little bit longer than male rats, like humans live a little bit, like women live a little bit longer than men. That's the first thing I want to say. And the second thing I want to say is I was really very surprised that it was that the convoys, we will speak about the convoys after, I suppose, and that Harold Katcher were not starting experiments to check if their beautiful tests on lifespan. So it was it's thanks to among other people Aubrey de Grey that I contacted, and also thanks to Walter Compton that I could contact these people and that I could convince them to start the experiments. And I have to say that the contacts with Rodolfo are really great. He is giving us very complete information, all details, videos, and so on. And the contact with Katcher, and especially with a woman there in India, where the situation for COVID-19 is very bad, are also good. They gave us all also information for, let's say, a funding, but it's not a so big amount of money. It's $25,000 for each. Such an important experiment, it's not so much money.
Okay, so based on what you're saying, the results with the experiment from Rodolfo are very promising. And one thing that I would like to ask is if both the experiments achieve good results, do you contemplate the possibility of doing a follow-up study? For example, Rodolfo always says that it may be easier or faster to do a experiment to extend the reproductive lifespan of female rats, because they usually reproduce until they are 10 months old. But if they are treated, for example, at 4 months of age, maybe they can get pregnant at 13 months of age, for example. So this would be an experiment easier to conduct, probably. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, Marion, maybe first, and then I will.
Yes, so the point and the main goal of the study right now about the effect of young rat plasma on the lifespan is just the result allow us to close doors. And so if the results, and this is the case right now, are really good, maybe it's a good idea to continue with the experiment, like you say, about the reproductive aspects. So yes, that's one of our goal, is to continue in this way.
And to go further, yes, like you said, Nina, and like Rodolfo is saying, it could be really interesting to test on the fertility of female rats, because this is only for the female rats stop to be fertile after about 12 months. So, and of course, it's cheaper to do this experiment, because old rats, you have to keep them alive during 24 months before you can start the experiment, so it's more expensive. On the other side, of course, it's less convincing to have rats still fertile than to have rats still alive after a long time. But we would have results fast. And then if there is, let's say, a second confirmation, yeah, we would go. I would say, if there is a second confirmation, I hope that people with more money, with more, more even, let's say, scientific background, more than I, not more than Rodolfo, that they will go further, that they will try to multiply the experiments. That's very important, because concerning, for example, the product of Katcher, normally they will already start, and also with the convoys, normally they will already start with humans, but I don't understand that they are not going further with animals.
And another thing I thought about is that the two of the rats of Rodolfo, the treated rats, because until now 3 treated rats died from nine, but 2 of them, we talked earlier with Rodolfo, and he told us that 2 of the treated rats died very soon in the experiments, in the 2nd and 3rd week. So this will make the average of lifespan of the treated rat is a bit lower than it could be otherwise. And Rodolfo told us that maybe this could indicate that young plasma needs some time to start to make effect. I mean, those rats were 25-month olds already, and maybe they were already in bad shape physically. So
Bad condition. Right.
yeah, so hypothesis of Rodolfo is that the rats didn't have time to make use
Yeah, yeah, sure. But on the other side, we have to be careful because it's a very small number of animals. So it could be also that it's judged by shades that with the plasma they are living longer. So we will see. It's also how long will they live. Uh,
After the control
no,
one.
after that,
Mm.
especially the treated rats. Yeah, that's the important thing. And also, until now, these rats are only 30 months, about 30 months, and for rats, it's not so old. So you see, I, I, of course, I prefer this situation to the situation where treated rat would die as soon, but it's not like it's perfect already. We will see.
So I think we can now move a bit away from the experiments and talk a bit more about Healy's and the rejuvenation field in general. So Didier, as we said, you are a co-chair and founder of Healy's, and I think you mentioned that previously in another interview that you used to work in initiatives regarding hunger, I think, and you said that you are a lawyer, right? You studied law, so it's interesting for us to know about a bit about your previous work and how you came into the longevity field.
Okay, I like to tell this story because, yes, since I'm 20, 18 years old, I give a big part of I gave a big part of my money to for people where sorry for yeah for people in countries where people are dying from because they don't have enough to eat. And I was always thinking, okay, I give this money for that, and also to fight against diseases that are easy to stop. And about already more than 12 years ago, I was asking myself, yeah, but what are the diseases that are easy to stop? And then at this time, I discovered that there were people like Obedegwe, like Nick Bostrom, like many others now. But at this time, it was a smaller number than now. That there were people who were saying that it could be and that it should be possible to stop aging. And that's where I really, let's say, discovered this world. And I decided first to invite Aubrey de Grey for a conference in Brussels. And then I met there Sven Bultereis, and there we created this organization. That's the way it was working. Yeah, and so I still think hunger in the world is something that we have to fight against it, and I still give some money for that. But yes, happily, the number of people really having not enough to eat in the world is only, well, it's much too much, but only 1 billion. And the number of people who are slowly dying of aging, that's almost 6 million. Almost everybody, slowly.
Yeah. So it's interesting because we also came to the rejuvenation field because of Aubrey de Grey, because Nicholas actually he saw his videos on YouTube, his TED talks. So he's a really important person, right, in this field. And
I,
yeah.
sorry, actually, the person who convinced me the first, that was this Nick Bostrom. Nick Bostrom is also a founder of the transhumanist movement. It's also a specialist of the questions related to artificial intelligence. And it's when I read his kind of short story, The Death of the Dragon-Tyrant. So it's in one world where there are 100 people dying because they are killed by dragon, and the dragon is a metaphor for aging. Yeah.
And as we're talking also with Marion, it's interesting for us to know you are a biologist, right? How did you came into contact with this field and with Helis?
So I'm really new in this kind of subject, aging, longevity, and so on, because at my master thesis I was working on sea turtle in Malaysia, so it's a different topic at all. And due to the COVID pandemic, I was searching for a job and in Brussels and home working. And so because I didn't have the opportunity to travel to Malaysia to continue my research over there. So that's why I met Didier and Ilse, and I learned a lot about longevity, aging, and that's why I'm here, and I'm learning every day about it, and it's really interesting, and I would like to continue in this way right now.
Okay.
Great news. We need
Yeah,
a lot of people in the field.
yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yes. One thing we would like to know about Helis is how is the governance in Helis? Because there are many institutions in the world of various types, and we would like to know who is in charge of Helis, if it's a foundation. An NGO? How is the governance of HIDIS?
Yeah, so it's a small organization. That's I would say most organizations in the longevity field are small organization. So it's an NGO. So it means there is no goal of winning money. And the two more active people is Sven Bultereis and myself. And there are other people, but not a big number of people. It's yeah, and like I said already, Hills is also a part of the International Longevity Alliance. This is let's say an association of other organizations, and we are working together a lot, especially with Ilias Tambler, Eduardo Bonneuil, other active people. And in this association, there is also Sense from Aubrey de Grey with Maria Entregues. Probably you know her. So yes, once again, it's a small organization, and I want to insist. I don't want. My goal is not to make Heels bigger. My goal is to make healthy longevity coming sooner. So yeah.
Okay.
Great. One other thing that I would like to ask, because in Germany there is an initiative from Felix Werth that
Yes, yes.
he created a party that wants
Sure.
to promote healthy longevity. We were wondering if Hillis maybe or Didier, I don't know if you have this kind of idea to do something similar in
Yeah.
Belgium.
So, so first, I know Felix Werth and his Partei für Gesundheitsforschung, pretty so party for science for health, pretty good. And I've been, for example, collecting signatures with for him in Germany, because to be candidate for the elections, he needs each time signatures. I would say there are two big possible ways on the political side to try to make things progress. One is to create an organization with people elected, and the other one is to go to people already politically active and to try to convince them. So both are interesting, both are good. Yeah, in Belgium, I think we are, let's say, a too small organization to try this way. But once again, I will continue to support Felix by collecting signatures after the COVID, maybe, but also financially. And I'm a member of the Partei für Gesundheitsforschung. Of course, it's symbolic because most activities are in German, and I understand only a little bit of German. But yeah, I have many contacts with, but speak with Felix Wert. But it's not answering to your question. But I want to say that Attila Xordas at the moment has an initiative called. I don't know the precise name, but it's an initiative in Europe. You have debates about the future of Europe, and in these debates, open to citizens, people can put proposals. And sorry, Attila Xordas, it's a Hungarian guy living in the UK, and longevist and scientist, made a text to promote scientific research at the European level. And this text will normally go to the competent organizations at the European Union level and be discussed. So that's the other way, I would say. But once again, both ways are interesting. So if I knew that it's possible to create some movement in Belgium and to go for the elections, yeah, even if I have other political affiliation, I'm a member of the Green Movement in Belgium, but I would promote this. But trying to convince people, politically active at the European level is for me one big priority, not easy priority, but one big priority, because at the moment in the world, in Europe and in the world, there is no one public organization who has as an explicit goal to rejuvenate people, to make scientific research against aging. And this should come. There is nothing, not at the World Health Organization, not at the European level, not in the US. There is the National Institute of Aging in the US, but well, they study aging, they don't fight against aging.
But Didier, one thing I was thinking about, you are on Brussels. You are located on the city in which, yeah, there is the European Parliament and everything the else. Maybe it would be easier for you to organize like a lobby group, like a
yeah,
group
of course. That was the kind of thing that I was saying with Attila Xordas. We are doing that, and when the name of the symposium on healthy aging that we organize each 2 years is Euro Symposium on Healthy Aging. So it's not by chance that we choose this European name, of course. But yeah, being in Brussels makes it easier. Well, made it easier before COVID-19, because now it doesn't change anything. But okay, before, yeah, I was very often going to meetings in the European parliaments. There are many debates, but having many contacts is not enough to convince people. It's you know, there are many lobbyists there are thousands of lobbyists in Brussels in all domains. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but sure, I'm lucky. We are lucky to be in Brussels. It's here for work. Yeah.
Yeah. So one other thing that I would like to ask is about how Hillis is funded. because there are several foundations or organizations in the rejuvenation field, and in your website it says there is a membership that is 25 euros per year.
Yeah. So let's be honest. Well, let's say to make an organization work, it doesn't cost anything. So this is, but for the funding of the activities, big conference and so on, it's coming from my money. So I give money to the NGO. We have until now, we have a few people who donated some money, but not a lot. So the money is coming from my pocket. I don't have so much, but I have some.
Okay.
One thing, in the rejuvenation field, there are many ways to fund science. I mean, there are state grants, for example. There are private companies with a profit goal which invest. There are NGOs, there are foundations such as Aubrey de Grey Foundation. I mean, there are basically, as I understand, these three types: the state, the private for-profit companies, and the NGOs, foundations. And I would like to know how do you evaluate these three ways to fund science, the rejuvenation science, and how is the relative importance between these three ways, and beyond that, I would like to know if you think one of those three is more relevant and more indicated for the advance of rejuvenation field.
Yeah, what I'm going to say is only my opinion because it's kind of a political question at the end of the day. So, but I would say sadly at the moment we don't have three kind of organizations because there are public organizations who are working on aging, but they are not working against to defeat aging. So they are not really working on the rejuvenation field. Well, there are a few exceptions, like where they can be a little bit active, but not really. They will not say it anyway. So the question is restricted to NGOs and for-profit organizations. I think that NGO are very useful, especially to to make people aware of the problematics, to make good information, to share more information. And private organizations, well, they have more money. But there is a big problem that we can see at the moment with the COVID-19 is these big and small companies. There are many startups also. These big and small companies, they're kind of maybe not their ultimate goal, but one important goal for them is to make money. So they need patents or they need non-disclosure agreements and things like that, who are keeping things secret. And science is advancing less fast for this. Well, for example, on the positive side, Harold Katcher accepted to make the test with the two with the rats, and that's great, and we will see the results. But he doesn't want to say what's in this product, yeah. So the convoys also, they are testing things. What they were doing. So the convoys are doing experiment with mice, plasma and albumin, and they say that the effect was really great on mice. But they didn't want to go to test really the lifespan. And they have also products that they are going to sell. So it's in a best world situation, for me, it would be organized by even at the level of the WHO. or to have public funded research for longevity, but it will not be like that in a close future. So let's say if there is one private organization who finds something, well, after a while they will share it. And they will, yeah, it will be so important that they will have to share it.
Yeah.
That's my conviction. Many startups also who say we have a great solution, but yeah, they are also advertising, of course. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm asking you because I think the generation of knowledge is the goal, and doesn't matter how it happens, but every kind of economic organization has his upsides and the downsides, and I have the impression that they are in certain ways complementary. So it would be important that these three legs of the
Yeah.
Three branches.
the machine could work, like the state, the private companies, and the third sector, the NGOs.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned some lines of research from the rejuvenation field, right? There are a lot of lines. There's damage repair by Albert de Grey. There's young plasma fraction by Harold Katcher. There's partial cellular reprogramming by David Sinclair. There's gene therapy by George Church. Telomere lengthening by Bill Andrews. Plasma dilution by the Comboys. So there are a lot of lines. Do you have an opinion on which line of research do you think is more promising in the field? And what are the chances for these lines to succeed?
This is kind of a paradox because at the moment we are following more all things related to blood, but I think the most promising avenue is related to gene therapy. And why? Because you, Nina, and you, Marion, you can expect to live a maximum of 122 years and nothing more. We, Nicola and we can expect to live 112 years and nothing more. That's already genetic, you know, because you are a woman and we are men. But a mice, even in a best world for mice, paradise for mice will never live more than 4 years. But some whales or some fish, they can live for centuries. So, and this is genetically, the maximal lifespan is very clearly genetically something in the genes. We cannot change it if we don't change the genes, or at least we cannot change it if we don't have something having effect on the working of genes. So gene therapy for me is the best field that we can imagine. And of course, with the CRISPR research, we are progressing very fast. But on the other side, at the moment, we still don't know which genes are making even the fact that women are living longer than men. We still don't know why whales are living so long. And we still don't know why some in some let's say the last Death of the Dead that we were writing was about the blue zones, why in some areas there's almost certainly genetic aspect for the fact that in some places people are living longer, but we don't know why, what precisely. So it will not be easy. But for me, that's the avenue, the best source of hope. Then maybe to go a little bit further, there is also nanotechnology, but that's not for tomorrow. What is for tomorrow is all products, metformin, rapamycin, and so on, but it's not going to change a lot. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it will be better, but I don't think it's going to change a lot. And telomeres, it's probably only one aspect. Yeah, and the other things that you were.
Well, the damage repair by Albert de Grey.
Yeah, yes, that's one aspect, but yeah, okay.
Partial cellular
Other things,
reprogramming by
yeah. Cell. I so using stem cells is also very promising, of course, but it's in many cases it's combination with gene therapy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, Marion, as a biologist that just came into the field, do you have an opinion about this also?
Yes, like Didier say, I think gene therapy are for me, one of the big way and one of the big topic to learn more about aging. But maybe, like you say, and I want to believe it, it's about the dilution of blood because we're working on, and I think maybe it's one of the big door that we can open and see what happen and what we discover. So maybe I would say like maybe dilution of the blood. So it's
Yeah.
me.
We hope so, because it would be, well, of course, except if you have to use we once if we know that blood is working, of course we have to find what is the blood that's working.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And one question, because we are testing things as you are doing in rats, and many people are making preclinical tests like with mice, and but we know that in order the therapies arrive the market, they need approval from the agencies, the state agencies. But when we hear about the costs of the clinical trials,
Totally crazy.
It's totally crazy. It's like, I don't know, $500 million.
Yes.
If you include the 3 phases of the process. So have you ever take a closer look about the costs in order to see if they are reasonable, or because I have the impression that these costs are a barrier to the organizations entering in the field in order to have conditions to do it, so that there are just a small pocket of organization who have billions of dollars to make all the 3 phases. So this raises another question. The agencies in the world used to require not only the safety of the therapies, but also the efficiency of the therapies. But the efficiency part is usually the most expensive, as is especially the third phase of the process. So I heard some proposals about that the agencies, the state agencies, should demand only the safety issue and not the efficiency in order to lower the costs. What do you think about this kind of proposal? And I would like as well to know if you, what I said earlier, if you already to take a look in the detailed information of the clinical trials in order to know if they are reasonable or inflated in some way.
So this is a big problem. Yeah, you totally right. So the situation in the US, yeah, it's like you say. There is sometimes they say that it's even for one for one new drug on the market, the expense is about $1 billion in average, because it's very expensive, and because there are many products who don't go until the products that people can buy. So in average, $1 billion. Of course, $1 billion. Of course, that's something that Hills cannot pay at all. Not even 1,000. And that's something that most small companies cannot pay at all. And the situation, not the situation for the FDA, but the situation for the European Medicines Agency is not, it's maybe a little bit better, but not so much better. And this situation, I think that the cause number one of the situation is this so-called precautionary principle, but not only precautionary principle for the people who are taking drugs, but also precautionary principle for people who are testing drugs. So even if you have one person dying during a phase one, a phase two, or a phase three, it will be kind of very, very bad publicity. So and so in the past there was this absolutely well, unfair. That's totally illegal and inhuman situation where people were obliged to be tested during World War II and even after. But now we are going to another extreme, you know, and we should have for people who are well informed and for who are volunteers, it should be easier to test things. And this is one very, very important problem indeed. And it will not be easy to change it. With the COVID situation, 1 year ago, I was kind of thinking, no, everything is going faster, so it's great. Well, things we are going faster, but not really fast enough, even with the COVID-19 situation. So, and I want to say something more, because you were asking about the FDA situation and testing situation, but for me there is also there is data everywhere concerning health. In when you are going to your physician or when you are testing something, all the data is now electronic. And but the problem is it's not possible to share it to make big data for science. And this is for me, for us at Hills, one major problem. And we plan to have one conference about big data, artificial intelligence, and healthy longevity, because all these things are related, you know, and also related, coming back to another part of your question, also related to the questions around patents, private interest, and so on. Because on one side, there are all these, sometimes for me, crazy legislation for privacy, but on the other side, there are also these sometimes crazy legislations about IP, about all patents, property laws, non-disclosure agreements, all things making that it's impossible, almost totally impossible to share data, even if you want, and a lot more difficult today to share data than it was centuries ago. That's crazy. You know, when let's say the first time people discovered about cholera, that was because in London, or maybe it was not the first time, it was 1 or 2 times, but okay. In London, there was one doctor who was checking, oh yes, there is water coming from this place, and the people got infected. And he was just using a map and making crosses to let know, yeah, it's there and there and there. No, it would be impossible because it would be against privacy. You cannot take notes of this. So once again, for me, a crazy situation where these laws are normally for good goals, but the result is really we cannot share information anymore fast, even for people who accept to take a risk, and also even for people who are very sick and who don't have any choice. It's impossible.
Yeah, actually, our next question were exactly about that because Hillis is very focused on big data and AI, and you mentioned also Nick Bostrom, right? That works with AI. And we wanted to know how these technologies could be applied, like in practice, to the rejuvenation field. So I think you already kind of answered that.
Yes. Yeah. In a best world situation, and for me, it's probably easier in a sense to reach. There should be, and maybe we should propose that to the let's say life extension community, to really share data and to make it possible to be used for for healthy longevity, at least to have first big data about healthy longevity. So that was also, maybe I go a little bit further. You maybe you know about Josh Mitteldorf.
Yes.
So Josh Mitteldorf, uh, Hills was also, once again through me, giving money to support one test on people, to say what they are using for the health, and to check for epigenetic clocks. But it's also there since 2 years. It's because of legal problems, because of what's called in the US IRB, these ethical committees who have to give their authorization for everything. So one key, let's say, one key argument for me is, okay, if I want to drink alcohol, to smoke, and to make things, everybody knows it's dangerous, I can do it. I don't have to ask an authorization because I'm more than 18 years old. If I want to give my blood and to take metformin to see if it is going better or not for my health, it's prohibited. And if I want to share the data with other people, it's even more prohibited. De facto and also the UOA. And maybe because Marion has been just with me reading a book of Marie Rouart about this question of FDA. Maybe you have one quote or something like that to give to us, or what was in the part.
The name,
Yeah.
the name of the book?
Maybe you can put also the link of the book for that it will be on the
Is that by regulation?
Yeah, that by regulation. Yes.
And
It's a
how
great
we were with it.
wrote about. From when is this book? 3-4 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but what you're saying is that even if people want to share their information, they can't.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
even if it's like anonymous, instead of saying Nina has this, I don't know, blood results, I can say a female of 30 years old has these blood results. Do you think that could work?
Not so easily, because first there are two levels of there is one level called pseudonymization and one level called anonymization. And one is, okay, let's say you are not Nina, but you are number 1, 2, 3, and you are not Nicola, but you are number 4, 5, 6. Okay, but the problem is, when I have all data, I can put that together and find you again. So that's not good enough. And when you have total anonymization, the problem is this data is less useful, because to know if you blood, for example, is normal or not, I need you, maybe not your sex, I don't know, but certainly your age. So no, it's really impossible. Impossible. Well, okay, probably if I decide to give my data somewhere, okay, probably it's possible. But if a scientist wants to use my data, of course, my data alone is not enough, and my data with the data of other people, it will be against the law in almost always.
Okay, and there is a subject we were interested in knowing your opinion, and it's related with the difference of attention received by aging process and age-related diseases, uh, and the COVID issue, because the age-related diseases, we who are in the rejuvenation field from some years, we are used to consider the age-related diseases like a pandemic, a continuous pandemic which kills 110 people every day.
110,000.
Yeah, 110,000 people every day, and that amounts to 40 million of people who died every year from age-related diseases. So when we hear the numbers about COVID, we don't think this relationship between cause and effect. So what do you think that causes this discrepancy between the tension between these two health
Yeah,
problems?
I have many things to say about that, because first, I think the fact that people were so much involved against COVID-19 is a good thing, because well, because COVID-19 is first a disease related to age. You know that, and most people know that. The average age of death of people having the COVID-19 and dying of this in Germany, but it's probably the same in other European countries, it's 81. So it's more than the than the average life expectancy. So it's a disease strongly related to aging, and most people who die, they are weak people, old people, sick people, and there was a lot of energy to save these people. So this, for me, this was very positive. And that's the first aspect. The second aspect is if there was nothing to stop these diseases, we would have, in a country like in Belgium, we had about 20,000 more deaths than in normal year, but it's only 1/10 of the population who had the disease. So if it was without any measure to stop it, we would have 200,000 people dead probably. And 200,000 people, it's 2% of the population. So it would be really a bad thing. And in Brazil, I don't know what's the situation, but at one moment it was also really a bad thing. So that's first aspect. Also, some people in the longevist community are thinking, oh, it's not true, there's nothing there. I strongly disagree with that. But now coming to your question, it's true that actually there are less people dying of COVID-19, far less people dying of COVID-19 than from other diseases related to old age. So why are the people so much, let's say, afraid of this? Well, first, that's because it's unknown. And also, I think that there is what's called the status quo bias. So aging, we are, how do you say that in English? We are habitué, we are
Use it.
used to it. We are used to it. Yes, aging, we are used to it. And this new COVID-19, we are not used. So status quo bias, yeah, that's probably well, status quo bias plus the fact that people didn't know how bad it could be, and still we don't know because there could be new variant of the disease is killing more people. That's the two aspects. But what is for me the disappointment is that I was hoping that after a while people would fight COVID and aging in general, and this is until now not coming. That's still my hope. Still the work that the longevist community is very clearly doing, trying to convince people, but it's not working at the moment.
Okay, in fact, we asked all the questions we would like to ask you, and we think it's important to give you a context of Helios, your work, and in fact, the main subject we would like to approach in this interview is the partial results of the experiments with rats. And because it was a bit unusual in the field, as I understand, this cooperation between the three branches of the funding, like Rodolfo works in a state university in Argentina, and Hillis is an NGO from
Okay,
Belgium, and Harold Katcher runs a private company.
yeah. I
So
didn't know that Rodolfo was working in a state university. That's great for me. Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't. Well, the universities in Belgium are complicated, and some they are from the States, some not. I didn't know for Argentina. Good, good. Yeah, okay.
it's a bit unusual to see that cooperation between and openness. As you said, they are going to publish the results, and this is a bit rare in the rejuvenation field because the dynamics, the economic dynamics. So that's why we wanted to give this partial update
Yeah.
for the public. So would you like to make some maybe final comments about that experiments, the process, and what we talked about?
Yeah, so like you said, for us, the important thing is not only, well, it's important to know where is working on this, but the important thing is that the results can be shared with the scientific community to go further after that. And it's great that Harold Katcher was accepting this. And it's great, but I would say almost logical also, because I know Rodolfo Goya is very much involved, that it's this way also. And yeah, I hope in a close future there will be other people, other organizations trying to go further, especially for test on animals and maybe test on people, to share more data, to share more information, even if it is for after that to sell things. But it's important that we can share, and like I said, to share more information, also more big data. And for this, we need more people involved, and we need also laws who are more who have as a real priority the health of the people, and not questions related to, I would say, false privacy. So privacy is important when it is to protect you against big companies or even against dictatorial states, but it's not important when you want to share data for health.
Mm-hmm. And well, we'll make available for everyone who is watching or listening the Hilly's website. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, there's your contact information there, right? And to support Hilly's, people can donate or become members, right?
Yes, so people can donate, people can be members, and if they want to be only informed, they can also take a subscription for the date of the date of death
The newsletter.
newsletter. So, like I say always, the subscription is free for 1 century. After that, you have to pay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, we want to thank you both for
Yes.
this interview. Your work is wonderful, and we expect to make great news from you
From the results.
in the next months.
Good thing.
Fortunately, with rats, it doesn't take so much time as
Yeah.
other.
Fortunately for us, not fortunately for the rats.
Yes, yes. In fact, well, but so thank to both, and we will see another time, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Maybe one more thing for the people who are looking at that and thinking, oh, these rats are suffering for us. These rats, if they were in the nature, they would never live. They would have a shorter life. So they live a happy life for rats. Because I
Yes,
know that there's these debates.
yes,
And
important that
yeah,
is a lifespan study, so the rats
yeah.
will be
So we are happy if they live longer.
yeah, the rats will be kept alive until the end.
So that's it, people. Thank you all very much for listening. As I said, I'm Nina.
And I'm Nicholas.
If you have any questions or suggestions, please send an email to immortalicast@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon page, which is patreon.com/immortalicast. If you want, you can become a patron to help us pay the costs of doing this podcast. And if you can become a patron, you can always spread the word about this podcast to people who might be interested. Again, we make episodes in English, Spanish, and Portuguese.
We are based on Brazil and translated, edited, and published some books of the rejuvenation field, such as Ending Aging by Albert de Grey in the Portuguese version, and The Abolition of Aging by David Wood, also in the Portuguese version, and translated from Spanish into Portuguese the book The Death of Death by José Cordeiro and David Wood. All these books can be found in our website, ntcplural.com, in case you want to know more about them.
On our website, we also have a page about this podcast with the references of each episode, such as the mentioned links.
For this, go to ntzplural.com/immortalicast.
And any other thing that might be relevant to this episode, we will put there too.
So we will continue making these discussions and informative episodes. And let's go towards the future.
Let's end aging or die trying.
So thank you again, and this is the
Immortalicast.
Immortalicast.
Bye bye.